Hello everyone, welcome to Lotus Heart Tarot. I am so happy to have you here. We are going to dive right on into your reading today. See what we have. This is the day after Lionsgate. What do we have for Pisces, the day of the the Aquarius full moon in the season of Leo? All right, let's see. For Pisces, please, Spirit, what does Pisces need to know right now? What does Pisces need to know right now? Okay. Ooh, interesting energy. All right. So Pisces, there's something that didn't work out in the past. And it didn't work out in the past because it was fear-based. This can be somebody wasn't ready for what was coming, what was happening. Maybe both of you were not ready. Yeah, what I see here is, okay. Wow. Okay. So, yeah, there is an energy here where you have player and vulnerability concerns here. I honestly feel like this to me feels like I don't know who you are. I don't know if you are a player or not. I don't know if it may have felt like there was a lack of commitment or someone was commitment phobic. You know what I mean? Like they were trying to avoid commitment on some level. You have this fear-based energy, and usually when we're fear-based energy, you will always see this like the kind of other side of the coin, which is like the effect it has on vulnerability. Vulnerability is like the building block of a relationship, and it takes a lot of courage and it takes a lot of bravery. No matter how secure you are as a person, it still requires bravery to move through this space, to like open yourself up and let someone see. I actually saw on Facebook, I think it's like called the Power of Positivity or something like that. They post these posts that is like, where they just ask people questions, and then you read the comments and people answer the questions. And the other day it was, what secrets are safe to tell? Or how much should you tell another person? And I mean, 90% of the comments were, you shouldn't tell anybody anything about you. Some people were very specific, like don't talk about religion or money, or you know what I mean? Like those same old things, like my grandfather used to always say that. And some people, very few, I think I saw 2 comments in a very long line of comments where, you know what, I don't have anything to hide. I don't understand the purpose of, keeping secrets or hiding things. And, that is its own thing too. You know what I mean? How do I even want to say that? Well, I don't really need to touch on that because that's not relevant to our reading. But what it is we're living in a society where, like, according to this random post on Facebook with a bunch of random people answering, it wasn't like my friends were answering it or some group that I'm tied to was answering it. It's just like random people across the internet. I'm telling you, like 95% of the comments were, don't tell anybody anything. They'll use it against you. They'll this, they'll that, And so there's a very strong mentality in today's society against, being vulnerable. And I don't want to say vulnerable on every level, but at least when it comes to sharing secrets. And the thing is, when you're trying to develop deeper intimacy and have a wealthier understanding of another person, you kind of need to have some foundation laid with, this is the main things that have really affected and influenced me to this point, and this is the main things that have really affected and influenced me to this point. And now when you behave this way, I kind of have an understanding, or I may have compassion, or I may have empathy for it. Like there's a push-pull, but that deeper level of understanding that we get from you know, people sharing with us, that is really important for a relationship. Yeah. So you know, with this player energy out here, it feels like an extreme skepticism where it's like, I don't know, you know, how much I can trust you. Like, I don't know how serious you are about this connection. And the thing is, it does feel like, I don't know where I'm getting this, but it does feel like there's some kind of phobia around commitment, or, you know, yeah, I mean, it's really coming through strongly as commitment. So I don't know, take it as it resonates. But without commitment begins to build a space where it's like, okay, if you're committed to me and you truly are committed to me, then if I tell you something like a deep secret to me that makes me feel ashamed or guilty or judged, or, you know, something like that, I know you're still going to stick around because we're committed. You know, we may have a larger conversation, we may talk through it, we may, you know, whatever, but I know that there is this underlying commitment to try to figure things out with each other that makes me feel more secure to share. So, you know, it's kind of that story, you know, what comes first, the chicken or the egg, right? And there is no real formula with relationships. We're all different. We all move at different speeds. We all, you know, have different even abilities to be vulnerable. And we've all had varying degrees of depth in our own emotional experiences to even share from. So, you know, there's no right way, no one answer, but you see this, learn through this. This is like, it's feeling like a relationship that tried to come together or had some kind of opportunity to come together, but didn't quite come together because we couldn't get over this hump. We couldn't get to a point where one person felt secure enough to commit to the connection and the other person felt secure enough to be vulnerable, or both, with both people. I mean, it can be anything. It feels like it may be getting another opportunity here because you are getting on the same page. And you know, it's like we may have discovered that we really fit together nicely. We may have discovered that, you know, we had a lot in common and we had great conversations and we really had the same core values, or we really saw things eye to eye. And we connected in a way that I don't necessarily connect with everyone or very many people at all. But we just couldn't get over this hump here. And so maybe we're wanting to try it again, and we're both coming into it with the attitude of, I'm going to push myself further than I did the last time. Because I know, because we fit together. Let's see. I'm getting it wasn't the right time for this. It wasn't the right time for this. All right, let's see. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I mean, this just definitely confirms what I just said. You know, I feel there is some kind of similar energy with the core values. Let me just give you guys some more space there. It says, I've got a good head on my shoulders. You can count on me. You may both be very reliable. And then you have this benched. I'll give just enough attention to keep you around as a backup option. I think that this is the fear. I feel like, you know, whether or not that's the actual intention, I feel like, you know, when we don't commit to someone, we're kind of saying like, you know, I'm enjoying having you around. I enjoy going out with you. I enjoy hanging out with you. I enjoy our conversations or whatever. But like, I'm not committing, I'm not stepping up, there's a limited amount of growth here. And so, then you start to feel like just a convenience rather than that you're in a relationship or a connection that's having an opportunity to actually grow and expand and could potentially go the distance, And if you're someone who's really looking for that, and that's what you're really wanting to invest in, or that's what you think you deserve, or that you're worth, which I think you are worth that and you do deserve that, then you can start to get resentful very quickly when someone's not stepping up, and so sometimes it's best to just sort of cut it off before it gets to that point where there is no return. And it is true that sometimes relationships, it could be the right person, but there could only be one right time, and that wasn't the right time, and maybe the right time is coming up here. We do see a lot of this green light go energy here. And then you have interested. I'm definitely interested in finding out how our worlds would mesh with each other. So this can be somebody who really wasn't looking long term, or really wasn't looking for a commitment, or really kind of may have even known that they weren't in a position to commit or to step into that. But now they're starting to say, I know it's worth it because I missed you, because it's actually really hard to find someone that you can be on the same page with, because it's hard to find someone who actually shows up. And so now I'm feeling like, man, maybe we should explore the option. Maybe we should look at commitment. Maybe we should see how it would work out if we did try this. And then you have catch. I'm everything you've been looking for and more. And again, that's this energy with these puzzle pieces on the same page that came out right away. It's kind of like, we actually fit together quite nicely. We may actually like the same things. You may understand me. You're not trying to change me. You're not trying to make my, cut my puzzle piece to make me different so that you can fit with me. There's just a real natural connection here. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for someone who just fits. And you do. And I realize that you do. I just, at that time wasn't seeing it because I wasn't looking for it. And then you have laughter. Nobody makes me laugh the way you do. So there's definitely, like I said, and I definitely feel this, there's a very strong compatibility here. All of our senses of humor are not the same, right? And so, when you find someone that shares your sense of humor and can make you laugh, and, it is one of those things where, what a joy that is. Okay, you have love lyrics on the bottom here. You have secret lover. I do feel with this like player vulnerability concerns, like this may not have been an extremely public relationship, and when people don't go public, it feels sometimes like, well, why are they keeping me a secret? Do they have someone else? Is there something else? Are they talking to many people at the same time? There's just this skepticism when you feel like, and also with this over her mouth, it's like, I feel like I can't say everything that I need to say or everything that I want to say, or I can't even ask for what I need in this connection because it's, it's not really a connection. We're not committing to making it work. There's a lot of this energy, and I feel like it is from, it's like, it kind of felt like, you could feel that there was a strong connection here, and there may have even been a strong physical connection here, but it's like, it never went beyond that, or if it did, it wasn't, I don't know, it just doesn't feel official, and all the things that come with being official. Yeah, wow. This is giving me this vibe of, sometimes when we meet people, based on their physical appearance, we sometimes will put them in a category right away. We do typically judge a book by its cover, boom, immediately. And there is this energy of, a lot of times, this has happened to me a lot in life where people really surprise me. If I was just judging them by their cover, I would throw them into one kind of stereotype. But when I get to know them, I realize that, like, wow, that's not who they are at all. All you have to do is look around YouTube. There are, very attractive men who have booktube channels. You wouldn't necessarily, and I'm not trying to rag on men here, but like, I wouldn't necessarily see someone like that and go, oh wow, I bet they love to read. I might look at them and say, wow, I bet they love to work out. I bet they're really active. I bet, they're this or they're that, but I might not think like, oh wow, I bet they're super intelligent. Like, that might not be the first thing that comes across my mind, right? In this particular relationship, it sort of feels like there is a very strong physical connection here, or a very strong physical attraction. And, sometimes, those, it's kind of easiest to stop there. To be like, wow, that person's attractive, or like, man, I'm really attracted to that person, and we're going out tonight and whatever, and really keep it on a superficial level, even in your own mind. It protects your heart, and it protects that sense of not wanting to be vulnerable, and it protects that sense of, not wanting to think super long term. You know what I'm saying? And so we can kind of really easily get stuck on the physical, especially in intimate relationships, where it's like, well, they're really attractive. And it's like, you even have the opportunity to get to know this person, and you clearly were getting to know this person. And I mean, I feel like you were getting to know this person to such a degree that you knew that you laughed a lot when you were with them. You knew that, you both showed up. You were both, maybe even you were both always on time, or, you both had a lot of respect for each other's lives and what you were doing. And there's even an energy of like being supportive, or even offering, care here, being there for someone. So it's like all of it was there, but when we're so enamored or attracted to someone's physical appearance or something like that, we can miss so much of their depth because we're not looking for it, because we're like, man, they're attractive, or I'm really into this, or you know what I mean? Oh, I can't wait to see them again for that reason, where we're not thinking like, oh man, I just love our conversations. The conversations happen, but they're sort of like secondary almost, or it is just coming across like everything was there. It was all laid out in front, but I could only see one thing, because the one thing was so sparkly. You know what I mean? So I hope that makes sense. But it's like, then the person on the receiving end of that is aware of that. Like, they feel that, but they're also like, logically, we just had this kind of intense conversation about this, and they know that I am well read because, I had all of this information to offer. And so they obviously know that like I'm an educated person, or I'm an intelligent person, or whatever, or a creative person. You have love lyrics here, like I can, go with the flow and collaborate here creatively. But, when the main focus is, I think you're hot. You know, I got heart eye emojis. They may be missing it, you know, where the other person is like, but surely they're seeing it because it's all there and it's out there and they've seen it. And we had this conversation and that conversation. And how could we have had that conversation without that person noticing it? But, you know, they may have been a million miles away, or they may have been like, oh yeah, duh, you know, but still just been like totally taken by the way you look or smell or feel or what they were thinking about doing later. You know what I mean? I don't know. But that's kind of the energy I'm getting here today. Anyway, and especially with this cherry and this anticipation, take it as it resonates, guys. But you have this love and lace and innocence. So it almost, you know, this is sort of like very feminine energy and very masculine energy. Like, I know, not trying to play into stereotypes, especially as I'm talking about them, but it, you know, we are different. We are wired differently, and we are, you know, kind of typically looking for different things from each other. And it feels like something got lost in translation here. It feels like, you know, I don't know, with this round and round, it gives me the feeling of this like up and down energy. You know, those carousel horses actually go up and down while they're going around and around. And it's kind of this feeling of like having a conversation, and it's like sometimes you think that you're on the same page and they're getting it. And then you're cycling right back around and you're like, wow, did we cover any territory at all? Like, I thought we were making progress. I was feeling really up about it. But now I'm like really confused because it feels like we're right back to square one. Like we're right back to where we started. It feels like a sense of resistance, but it's kind of an unconscious resistance that I'm picking up on here. Like, I actually feel like this person just really wasn't ready. They weren't really looking for something serious, or they weren't expecting to find like their person at this time or in this place or in you. And I think it took them a while to catch up to it. It took them a while to figure it out. And they may have had to really lose you in order to figure that out, in order to realize that they were missing much more than just the physical. Right? They were missing your smile. They were missing your laugh. They were missing your jokes. They were missing, you know, your creative contribution here, or how easy it was to create, or how inspired they felt by the situation. All right. Let's dive into the tarot, see what's happening here. We've got the High Priestess with the Chariot, and the Chariot came out spinning and ended up sideways. So it feels like something where we were moving ahead and then maybe we stopped, but we're hoping here to like, it's not over, you know, it wasn't in reverse, but it wasn't like no movement, but it definitely was being challenged. It was definitely being hung up or held up. There's a Five of Cups here. So there is some regret around this energy. And with the High Priestess, Pisces, this is definitely you. You may be holding back. You may have withdrawn. You may have, it's like you may be kind of sitting in your power waiting for someone to come towards you, or even like I'm getting the energy of luring them in, you know, or they may have been coming towards you and then kind of stopped. And, you know, this is one of those situations where I feel like, you know, with the High Priestess, you may not have really been opening up to them, or you may not have been really sharing with them like how you really saw the connection, or what potentially really saw in the connection, or you may have tried, but there is a sense with the High Priestess of keeping secrets, or, you know, not revealing everything. This can also be that like you really went no contact here with this person once the movement forward seemed to dry up, or once it was kind of exposed to you that you thought you were linking up with someone that you were going to cross the finish line with or have a lot of success with, but it turned out maybe they didn't feel quite as certain or as sure, or they may have kind of put on the brakes or said, well, let's go really slow here, or do you know what I'm saying? Wow. So there might have been kind of a sudden change that happened here. Wow. Yikes. And you may have been like, oh, whoa, I thought we were really linking up here for something serious and that we were trying to move toward the finish line successfully together. I thought you were a real partner that was meeting me and matching me stride for stride. Like, I thought you were serious. And the tower is showing up here. I am going to clarify the tower, but it is sudden changes. It's like, oh, wow, like it all just fell apart in a moment. And it may have been a real moment of realization of like, wow, you were not thinking the same thing I'm thinking. Yes, the Pisces, I think you were thinking this could be marriage. This could be the one. This is a deep soul connection and I could see it for the long term. And you realize that this person was stuck on square one. Like they were really, really stuck. They weren't really seeing what you were seeing because they weren't looking for it. And this positioning with the Two of Swords, they weren't really opening their heart all the way. They weren't really being vulnerable. They weren't even really in a place where they could make a decision because they weren't seeing the whole picture. And this is exactly what I was getting in the beginning. It's like they're so stuck on the fact that you're pretty or whatever that they can't see the whole picture. They're not taking it all in. So with the Knight of Wands and the Chariot, this person may have actually acted like a player, or they may have been like, I gotta go. And yeah, because I gotta follow this passion, or I've got to, like, something else is calling me. And it really may have given you this feeling of that this person never really had been very serious about you. The thing is, with the High Priestess and the Chariot, you had a deep inner knowing of what was possible in this connection. This isn't your imagination. This isn't your mind. This isn't your Neptunian, faraway, dreamy, ethereal energy. This is like, no, I was feeling this. You know, I definitely could see that we could be on the same page and that we could be good together, that we could really have a lot of success, and that this was a true partner for me that could actually meet me stride for stride. And then this is a very disappointing energy with the Knight of Wands, that they go zooming away, you know, kind of half-cocked, like, I don't know what you were feeling or what you were thinking, or, you know, like they weren't on the same page. So now we have the Queen of Swords here. And with the Queen of Swords and the Tower, this is kind of like, oh, okay, I see how you are. You know, I'm not very likely to like open up and give you another chance because I see how you are now. Like now there's complete clarity. We've been doing this round and round merry-go-round conversation thing where I think we're making progress and then we end up right back to square one. And now I'm getting it. You were stuck, you were stagnant, you were not open to seeing what was between us. You were not open to understanding that we had this energy of the Chariot for our relationship. You got uncomfortable, you got scared, and you bolted. Or you found something else that you were interested in, or something else that you needed to focus on, and you focused on that instead. This person definitely does regret it. I think they regret putting you in that energy. I feel like at one time you were kind of soft and approachable, and you were really open to this person. And I think with the Queen of Swords, you kind of slammed the door shut and were like, you don't come back until you're saying very specific things, you know, until you're in a very different energy than you're in right now. This is like kind of harsh, and it is a bit like, I will cut you off before I let you disrupt my peace or hurt me any further, or whatever the case may be here. I will cut you off. I will preserve myself. Okay. Wow. What, like, how this changes, my goodness. I actually just can't really wait to clarify this, to see how this changes. you've got the 8 of Wands with the Empress here with the Knight of Cups on the bottom of the deck. So, this 8 of Wands, it feels like, with the Knight of Cups, this is this person who somehow now may be really ready to follow their heart. They're feeling more secure. Yeah. They're seeing it now. Sometimes you don't know what you got till it's gone, This is interesting. I cannot wait to clarify this. But someone's coming in, they're reaching out to you. They're finally in an energy where they're ready to follow their heart. They do have an armor on, but they are a whole lot more brave and more confident and more secure than they were before. I do love that the King of Pentacles is underneath this Knight of Cups, because it is saying to me that this is somebody who does have the capacity at this time to commit. When they do show up, they have the capacity to be the serious person that they didn't before. And with the 8 of Wands, especially directly aimed at the Empress, they are seeing you as like one in a million. They are seeing you as someone that is really irreplaceable, someone that, they really just did not realize what they had until it was gone. Let me just go ahead and clarify these. The 8 of Wands for Pisces. Can I have 2, please? Thank you. Wow. You have the 5 of Cups and the 5 of Swords with the 10 of Pentacles on the bottom of the deck, clarifying this 8 of Wands. This is an energy of someone who really, their mind got the best of them. They may also have had some situations in their life where they had other people sort of talking to them that caused drama and chaos and really prevented them from being able to kind of think straight or to really observe the situation. Sometimes this is a friend that's like, I don't know, watch your 6. Remember this conversation, remember that, kind of keeping them in a place where they felt very insecure or kind of already defeated in the relationship. With the 5 of Cups, they do regret allowing whatever, it does feel like an outside sort of energy here. They do regret that, and they do regret, sometimes the 5 of Swords can also be like mental manipulation, or they may feel like you feel like they were manipulative or where they were not upfront or were not honest. Sometimes it can also be an energy of like, I need to break up with you before you break up with me. I need to end this before you realize that I'm not who you thought I was, or that I'm not worthy of love, or that I'm not good enough. Like, I need to just not let myself be fooled, like that's how some people protect themselves. They cut off, even if it's something that they really, really want, they'll cut it off before it can cut them off, because they think it will hurt less, or at least it would be in their control. It can be that energy, but this person is really regretting this, because with the 10 of Pentacles on the bottom of the deck, they are, at least now, I feel like, willing to admit that there is a lot of long-term potential here. With the 8 of Wands, they want to talk about this. I think, this can even be kind of an apology, or like, I've changed. I want to show you that I've changed, with the 2 5s. And sometimes, an apology is a liberation for the person who gives it, right? Like, I can't go back and make it different and choose a different thing. But if I apologize, that's the best I can do to sort of, relieve myself of the burden of what I did, And so for some of you, it does feel like this could be an apology. But for a lot of you, with the 8 of Wands, this is reciprocal conversation. So it's a lot of back and forth. It does, an apology is sort of like, I show up, I say I'm sorry, and I leave, and then that's the end. This gives me more of a feeling of like wanting to say and to show, I've changed, I'm not that person anymore. I do realize and understand that we were really on the same page, and that, we could actually maybe build something of a lot of value here. Okay, I asked for 2 on the Empress and I got 3. Okay, so we have the Magician in reverse with the Page of Wands upright with the Wheel of Fortune. So, I feel honestly like this person actually, this was their own insecurity, or, I don't think that they felt like they were good enough to be able to actually choose this. They were disempowered at the time. The Magician is in reverse here. So this is someone who, they also, this can be someone who, can't find the words or can't express themselves or chickens out or gets afraid, of like actually being, taking the relationship from one kind of relationship to another kind of relationship. And it's like, as much as they may have wanted to, they may not have been able to, speak to say like, hey, I'd like to take this to another level or whatever. This can also be someone who may have made some false promises or false statements that they really couldn't back up, and they felt that if they chose the connection, it may have been exposed. You have the Seven of Pentacles on the bottom of the deck. This energy is changing to where this person does feel empowered to make this choice, or to be able to say, I want this. I at least want to give it a try. I may try and not succeed, but I want to try. Like, I want this. With the Seven of Pentacles, this may have taken some time for this person to come to this place, but it's kind of like the seeds were planted for this at, I don't know if you can see that, at the, on the outset of this connection or in the outset of this meeting. And it did take time for them to like be planted and to have roots and to grow and to get to this space where they are kind of ready to flower. The Wheel of Fortune talks about divine timing, and so does the Seven of Pentacles. And I've been getting this theme since the very beginning. It's like this could have been the right person, but that wasn't the right time, and now maybe is a more favorable time. It does feel that way with the Wheel of Fortune and the Seven of Pentacles. It's like, okay, now let's try it. And it does feel important that those seeds had been planted back when they had been planted, because you're coming into this energy with that Knight of Cups there. It's like you're coming into this energy differently. I feel like both of you are. You have a deeper appreciation for being on the same page, or for the commonality or the ease of the connection. And even for some of you, there may even be this understanding of like, I actually cannot find anyone that really takes my mind off this person, or feels like someone that I even want to get to know besides this person. Let's keep going. So yeah, we got the Tower, Two of Wands, Nine of Cups. Wow. Someone realized very quickly, they may have been stuck at a crossroads and really looking at their future and really asking themselves, what do I want? Which way am I going here? And they may have actually realized in that moment, holy crap, I want to be happy. Like, my emotional contentment is the most important thing. Yeah. Like, whew. This is kind of a real major realization. When we come to the crossroads, right? We can kind of say, we all approach them in different ways, right? And like at different times in our life, we approach them in different ways. Sometimes we're so aligned with ourselves, we have, our mind and our heart are just so on the same page that we step up to the crossroads and it's a no-brainer. It's like only one of these roads is in alignment with my mind and my heart, and like, so that's obvious, and I just go. But sometimes, and especially when we're out of alignment, when we step up to a crossroads, we're like, there is no good answer, this or this, or, you know, it's like, I don't know. I just don't know. I want someone else to tell me, what should I pick? Like, which way do I go? What does it mean if I pick this? And what does it mean if I pick that? And like, you know, you know what I mean? And we have this almost like a lot of anxiety around it, right? Like, my whole future depends on this decision and I can't see which way to go. And a lot of times that is because we are out of alignment. And so sometimes when we get to those crossroads and we kind of have that like panic attack type energy, right? It causes us to sort of see the chasm that is within us, that divide between in our alignment, you know, where it's like, oh, whoa, you know, I say I want this, but the actions I'm taking are actually taking me away from that. And in my heart, I want this, but my mind keeps telling me I can't have that, you know, so things can start to sort of be exposed. And that's what this tower feels like. It's like this person got up to the crossroads. You have the Two of Pentacles and the Two of Wands and the Three of Cups here. And it may have even been like, this decision should have been a celebration. It should have been a joyous time. It should have been like, you can do no wrong. You know what I mean? Or, wow, congratulations, like something amazing has happened here. But instead, it kind of feels like everything is sort of fallen apart, or it sort of feels like the earth is shaking. And I'm just now understanding and realizing that, like, whoa, I may have made the wrong decision back there, or none of this means anything to me or matters at all if I'm doing this by myself. Or, you know, maybe I thought that when I got here I would be happy, but I'm here and it's not making me happy, you know? And it's not making me happy because back there I waffled and I chose fear. Or you know, this happens a lot, okay? When we as people, and probably almost everyone has done this in their life at one time or another. When we say, I'll be happy when, if you ever hear yourself say that, stop right there and really look at it, okay? Because what you're saying to the universe is, I'm not happy now. But the thing is, if we tell ourselves and we convince ourselves, like, let's say, I'll be happy when I'm going to say, buy this house, okay? I will have my own washer and dryer inside. I will have my own garage to park my car in. I will, you know, won't have neighbors above me, below me, and next door to me making noise that I have to deal with or hear about. I will be happy when I can buy a house. So they get up there and they can buy a house, and that feels like it should be this huge celebration. But what happens when we hit a milestone is we're immediately faced with another crossroads, right? Because now what do we do? Now where are we going? Now what are we working toward? Now what is our goal? But the thing is, if we get there and all of a sudden it's like, you know, I'm not happy. Like, it didn't make me happy the way I thought it was. Like, I am happy. I am happy about my laundry. I am happy about my car. I am happy about, you know, the noise. I am happy about those things. But like, I thought this was going to take me next level. I thought that I was going to, you know, be like walking on air. I was going to be so happy. But the truth of the thing is, I can only reach a certain level of happiness without my empress. You know what I mean? Without that person that, you know, would have been the first one to come over and celebrate. That is the first person that I thought of that I want to show this house to. That, you know, I want to Netflix and chill with or cook for or whatever. You know, it's like, there's something here where this is supposed to feel a lot better than it does, and why doesn't it? And that's when a realization hits of like, whoa. Maybe it's even the big one, which is like, that's just not how life works, because that isn't how life works. But it exposed to this person what they needed to work on within themselves to have the sense of emotional contentment on their own, all the time. The Nine of Cups is like a day in and day out kind of energy. It's not like in this moment, and one of its meanings definitely is wish fulfillment, right? But when we get something, and a lot of times we do that with jobs, with material possessions, with the material world, we say, okay, well, when I have that, when I make my first million, when I have this car, when I get this house, when I get this title, when I get this salary, when I make it to this place, I'm going to be happy. And then we get there and maybe we're happy for a little bit, but the first time your car gets a ding on it, or something breaks in your house, or you start to realize the drawbacks of the traffic pattern in the neighborhood, or the kids of your next door neighbor that just come over and randomly play in your driveway, or like whatever. Everything has an up and a down. And so when we're putting all of our faith that we're going to be happy as soon as we reach something external to us, there is a certain amount of joy, but the joy really comes from our own ability to have gotten there, our own accomplishment within ourselves, which is something that we bring to the table through our own hard work. You have the Eight of Pentacles here. And so that's when, you start to realize, like, I've gone through life quite a while and I have had these moments of happiness, but long-lasting happiness, the Nine of Cups, day in and day out, where your cups are full and you're truly grateful, that actually requires a lot of self-discipline, and it actually requires you to actually master yourself here with the Eight of Pentacles. Waking up in a grateful spirit, waking up just, and immediately before you even crack your eyes open, thinking about how happy you are to have woken up and to have this day and to have this experience and to wake up in your comfortable bed with your roof over your head, with your belly full of food, those things, that is the day in and day out emotional contentment. It is something that comes from within, but it is an attitude, it is a perspective, it is an intention to be grateful and to be happy. It isn't like achieving something or getting somewhere. Those things do make us happy a lot because they do show us what we are capable of. There is a euphoria that comes when you can do it and you did it and you are capable. That is part of the human experience. So yeah, but that is short-lived, and then it's off to the next goal, off to the next thing, right? So with this Eight of Pentacles and this Nine of Cups, it's kind of like someone taking ownership for their happiness and their happiness on a daily basis, and kind of understanding that it isn't about, it's kind of like if you are, I don't know, the Summer Olympics really affected me, and I keep using them as an example, but if you're training for track and field, right? And you are practicing day in and day out, right? And you are dedicating your whole life to eating right, to, visualizing the race over and over again in your mind, to manifesting the win, to hearing that starting gun, to working your butt off, to competing in all of the races that lead up to the Olympics, all of those things. Your happiness is coming from the sense of self-satisfaction every day when you lay your head on the pillow that, man, you did everything you could today to reach your goal, to be your best, to be the best that you could be at whatever it is that you are trying to be. And that is happiness. That elicits a huge amount of self-satisfaction and emotional contentment. You could not have done more with your 24 hours than you did. And, this is you uniquely pursuing what is in your highest and best, or what you have to contribute, especially to the world. Not everyone can run those races, right? That is a miracle and a gift and something that, you've worked really, really hard at. But you're not just happy at the Olympics. Yes, you're probably blissed the freak out. That's like the world card energy. That's where you feel the connection to everything that is. Every single one of those practices, every single one of those races that led up, every coach, every parent cheering, every ounce of support that you ever got. You feel probably an enormous sense of gratitude for every single drop of every single everything that brought you to that like podium, right? And that's that euphoria, you know, but it's not just that moment. And it's not just, you know, it's not just anything. It's that, wow, you know, you put your mind to something and you accomplished it. And you know all the blood, sweat, and tears and the sacrifices you made and the sacrifices other people made for you. And, you know, all of it that contributed to it. Anyway, you see what I'm saying? I hope you do. I hope I didn't get so far off on a tangent that we've lost it. But this person came to this crossroads where it feels like they should have been happy. And they weren't. They were, there was something lacking, and it all kind of fell apart in this moment where it was all supposed to come together. It fell apart instead. And it is based around a decision. And it looks like with the Two of Pentacles and the Two of Wands, there is this energy of someone who chose fear over love. You have the Nine of Pentacles, wow, and underneath that, the Star card here, where, you know, this is talking about, okay, you, Pisces, you may have gone on and been very successful on your own and been happy single. You may have fallen back into the single life and been like, oh yeah, I am so good at this, and like I got this on lockdown and I know what's up, and you know what, I actually like being single, and I actually like this energy, and I actually love being in control of my fate. And you may have been very popular, you know, people may have been asking to do things with you, maybe they haven't seen you because you've been with this other person, and now this person is starting to realize like, damn, I was really lucky to have had the time that I had with Pisces. Like, Pisces is selective. Pisces is popular. Pisces doesn't have time to give to every single thing. Plus, Pisces also likes being by themselves. And they're quite capable of being by themselves. They weren't with me because they needed me. They were with me because they wanted to be. And there's a big difference there. Yeah. Well, you have the Judgment and the Nine of Pentacles with the Two of Pentacles on the bottom of the deck. You know, you know, they say the best revenge you can get is a life well lived or whatever. That's this vibe. You know, it's kind of like you may not have even been, you know, living your best life in order to get revenge, right? But it's like you just did what you do. And you had a lot to fall back on because you have built a life for yourself. You have built a situation for yourself. You have built hobbies and interests and friends and, you know, outlets or whatever it is that this person, you know, forgot that was who you are. You know, maybe you were thinking that you were building something serious with this person, and so you gave them all of your attention. You were committed to them in your own way. You know, maybe it wasn't official, maybe it wasn't declared, but maybe you showed up when they needed you. Maybe you answered the phone for them. Maybe you know, were always caring and considering them and being empathetic and compassionate towards them. And, you know, oh, you had a bad day, let me come over with some pizza and we'll Netflix and chill and have a drink and everything will be better, you know? Maybe you put this person, you know, as your top priority. And then, you know, when you left and you put yourself back there, they were like, oh my God. And, you know, witnessing you treat yourself that way reminds them of how you once treated them and what they're missing now. And they missed it because they were going back and forth. And let me tell you, with these two Nine of Pentacles here, this is like obvious. This isn't like, you know, it almost feels to me like this person really didn't consider the question at hand. Like, they were just like, do I want a commitment? No. They weren't thinking of like, do I want a commitment with Pisces? Is Pisces worthy of a commitment? Like, they weren't even putting that in the thing. It was all about like, I'm afraid of commitment. I don't want a commitment. I'm not committing. No. It wasn't like, oh, this is what I'll be losing, or this is what I have, or this is how lucky I am to have this person in my life. But you going off and giving yourself that, you know, stability, that energy, all of that which you were giving to them, and taking it back from them with that high priestess energy that we saw in the very beginning, they're realizing like what they were missing, and the power of it, and the beauty of it, and the stability of it, and they're feeling like really unbalanced. Like, how, you know, it's exposing that decision and where that decision came from, and how short-sighted, and excuse me for saying this, but fucked up it was. Like, that's literally how it's coming through to me. It was fucked up. Like, even in their own mind. Like, who were they? And what were they thinking? It's like they were so focused on something else, or so focused on certain aspects of certain things, and not really seeing the whole picture, that like they just missed it. But you have judgment here, and this person definitely wants another chance here. Yeah, you may be a bit defensive. You have the Seven of Wands here. Yeah, you got the Empress again, and you have the Hierophant. It feels like this person really does want another chance. They do look pretty serious here. You do have the Hierophant. Like they, you know, they are maybe willing to commit here now. But it does feel like you're sort of protective of yourself. It's like, I got myself back, and I'm doing really well here on my own singly. And I am, you know, I'm not totally closed off to it, but I'm not like, I only give access to people who deserve it. So you got to show me that you deserve it. This person is very sure about what they want now. They actually did suffer. They actually were heartbroken over this situation. I do feel a bit of it is like their pride and their ego were hurt, honestly, with the King of Wands and the Three of Swords. But, and they could also be a fire sign, but, with the, or an air sign even potentially here, but the, Six of Swords here, they had to work through this, you know, they had to, I am kind of getting like, differentiate their ego and their pride from their kind of more spiritual side. It's I'm actually seeing like separation. Like, you know, if you put water in oil or oil in water, it's like it never mixes, right? But like it does drop into the other one, and then it sort of separates up in bubbles. Like the oil kind of comes to the top of the surface, right? And it separates out, and then it becomes one calm, you know, separated liquids on top of each other. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, you see what I'm saying? Hopefully you do. That's what I'm getting with the Six of Swords. It's kind of like, you know, their pride sort of infiltrated the way that they were thinking, and their initial reaction may have been to be like doubling down on their pride or their ego. Like, I don't need this. I don't care. You know, whatever. I'm right. I'm not gonna commit to someone that I don't want to, and like whatever. You know, they may have even told themselves a bunch of stories, but it's like gradually they saw the bullshit in it. They saw the oil kind of rise to the top of the water and just lay there. And when that happened, it's like the water was so much greater than the oil, but the oil was what made the determination in the first, is what made the decision. That's why it's fucked up, you know, like that's why I'm getting those words. I'm getting a lot of cuss words right here. I'm just going to tell you, I'm getting like bullshit and fucked up. And so anyway, I don't know, take it as it resonates, but it's like, it had to, the ego had to separate out for this person to be able to see clearly, it had it had to come to that space of rest where the oil was completely separate from the water for this person to see the forest for the trees, you know, for them to be able to see, oh my gosh, that was my ego, that was my pride, that wasn't even like real, that didn't even matter, that isn't even important, that was just some lower vibrational part of me that had to have their own way, you know, like a spoiled child is coming across, okay? Like they broke their own heart, and for what reason? Okay, so let me clarify this real fast. See? Absolutely, with the sun, they're seeing it very, very clearly. The 6, oh my God, yeah, this person, there's definitely, I feel, communication coming in. The 6 of Swords is being clarified by the Queen of Pentacles and the 10 of Cups. You know, they're seeing this clearly, like, you were nurturing, you were loving, you were solid, you were stable, you were abundant, you were offering them everything that anybody ever really wants, you know? And they were emotionally content with you. There was a lot of happiness. There was a lot of just like, we get each other. This is organic and easy and we fit together, you know? We're like two puzzle pieces that just get each other and we belong together. And I'm feeling there's a lot of evidence of this. Like maybe you're even in the same career field, or like there's some kind of similarities here. It could be, you know, a sense of humor and stuff, but it also feels like, you know, you both could be creative, or you both could be, you know, I don't know what this is, but it's like complementary. Yeah, that's what it is. It's complementary to each other. And it's kind of obvious that you're complementary to each other. Like it makes sense, kind of a thing. But with this King of Wands energy with the sun, this is like, wow, it's becoming, a lot of things are becoming clear. The way I allowed my pride to interfere here is clear. What I want and what I'm willing to do for it, also clear. There's a lot that is just, has become very clear, yes, but it's like turning into motivational drive. You know what I mean? It's turning into fuel even for this person. It may have actually even fueled some kind of growth. We had that 8 of Pentacles and now we have the Sun card. So like this whole experience, it has been very illuminating, yes, but beyond that, it has, yeah, it's fueled growth, and it has also like motivated this person to actually sort of act on their own desires, or to sort of take their own desires more seriously, or to get serious about what they desire, you know, to really ask themselves what they desire. And not just that, but like, you know, if they were influenced by other people, we saw that 5 of Swords back there. If they were being influenced by the words or the opinions or the views of other people, this may be like, I am very confident in knowing what I want and what is important to me and what I'm willing to do to go get it. And I'm very motivated to do that now, because it's like, this belongs to me. This is my life. And I'm going to have what I want in my life. So I feel there's definitely communication coming in. You have the Ace of Swords here. You had the 8 of Wands there. There's something definitely going down here. A change that is definitely occurring in this connection. Let me get you guys some message cards. If you're dealing with a water sign, you have old flames, triggered. What we have here is soul recognition, and I'm sorry I triggered you. If you're dealing with a fire sign, you are getting honest, distant, wait for me, anxious, and I am afraid to trust. If you are dealing with an earth sign, oh my goodness, okay. You are getting excited. Suddenly, all the songs I hear are about you. My nerves get the best of me sometimes. I'm ready for more than just text and secret. And if you're dealing with an air sign, you are getting twin flames, doubting, you were so unexpected, and I am making plans. All right, Pisces, this is what I have for you. I really hope it helps. I hope it brought you some peace and clarity. If it did, let me know. Like, share, subscribe, comment. I really love to hear from you guys. Until next time, I send you off with all my very best. Always, always, always. Bye-bye.